Hi everyone, Grant Haywood, National Director of Coaching for AYSO United, here to deliver our second webinar, Train the AYSO United Way. So an overview, we're going to cover the following items, our coaching methodology, AYSO's principles of play and our style of play, US Soccer's play development philosophies, and AYSO United's team training and periodization plans. So the why, again, to ensure each and every coach is delivering the same AYSO United program across the nation. So we're unifying our approach to player development and delivering an approach that we feel creates the best youth soccer environment in the nation. So first we're looking at our coaching methodology. So it all relates back to our core values and having that heart of a teacher. Heart of a teacher is being that role model, that educator, building rapport with the players, being patient with the players, being engaging and dedicated to learning. The enjoyment, every child, every player should be coming to practice looking forwards to it. We create that positive and safe environment for our players to enjoy it, make mistakes and learn from them. Commitment, this is every player committing to giving 100% every single practice. Ownership, this is us helping the players take ownership of their learning. This is our guided discovery approach, asking the players questions to draw out the answers in order for them to better understand the objectives of the session and the coaching points. Integrity, this is us coaches setting the example, being sportsmanship and showing respect at all times. Holistic, this for us coaches is approaching the sessions with a holistic mindset. So in regards to our planning and execution, are we providing exercises that encompass all the player key qualities and all the components of soccer, whether that being tactical, technical, psychosocial and physical. Developing game understanding. So first, we need to know what makes soccer soccer, and it's the 4 phases of the game. You're either in possession, out of possession, or transition and in between. Now we look at AYSO's principles of play. So we need to establish a mutual understanding of the game and our style. First, I'll start with our defensive principles and preventing the opponent from scoring goals. So our defensive principles of play are collective and coincide with one another. If only pressure was applied, it would look like a scrimmage line. If depth is added by having players stay on the edge of the 18, there will be a huge space to be penetrated. If balance is added, there may still be huge gaps between our lines. Adding compact and composure to the 3 previous principles, being behind the ball, it makes it very difficult for the opponents to penetrate. Then using composure, we're able to guide the opponent into where we can have a numbers up situation. Where to defend? Wherever a team decides to initiate pressure, the team must apply all 5 principles of play to prevent the opponent from penetrating towards our goal. So here you can see a low block on the left, a mid block in the middle, and a high block on the right. All applying the 5 principles of defense. Attacking principles. Overcoming the opponent's defensive structure to score goals. First one, penetration. Find and create space to move the ball forwards in order to score goals. Whether it's passing, dribbling, or ultimately moving the ball forwards towards the opponent's goal to create scoring chances and score goals. Depth. Depth is providing support behind, around, and in front of the ball to play through, over, or begin to play around the opponent's block. So there's the opponent's block in red. And we're looking at the 4 and 5 potentially dropping to provide support behind the ball, and then the 9 looking to go higher up the field to offer a potential threat of the ball going in behind, and even the 10 could look to go a little higher to create that space for them to check into. So in here you see the arrows of where the players could move to, and now you see there's those options of potentially playing the ball in behind or dropping the ball and switching around, and then also the 10 has got that space to check into to receive the ball. So then we look at width. So here the team has got depth high up the field, depth behind the ball. But again, there's the defensive block, and we can see there's a lot of space over here. So if the players can provide that width, there's then more options, more open spaces for them to move the ball and penetrate. The fourth principle of attack is mobility, and I've added in positioning. So here you can see the Reds' defensive structure with their back four, midfield four, and front two, and the 6 has positioned himself in the space between the lines. So if we just play this out, the 6 can receive the ball and receive pressure from the opposing 6, which then creates space in between the lines of the defensive line and midfield line. And then we start to look at mobility. So which players would move into this space. So no matter what formation we play, our players should develop that spatial awareness to move into spaces and rotate positions to maintain and achieve the previous principles of play. So in here, we've got examples of the 10 could possibly drop in and the 7 could move across for the 2 to go higher up. The 8 could slide across. The 8 could drop down in between the midfield and attacking line. So as long as our players are aware of the spaces available and can occupy them, they can maintain possession and possess through the lines of the opponent. The final one, improvisation. So in here we've got an example where a pass is going into the 6, the holding midfielder. He's been put under pressure, and what we're hoping for is if there's no pass available, that we're developing improvisation amongst our players to use good footwork, good initiative to evade that pressure, maintain possession, and advance the ball forwards. So our transition principles. First, I've shown an example of transition from attack to defense. Here we see the blue 11 in possession of the ball looking to dribble down the line. The 2 dispossesses, and then we're looking for the blues to quickly condense, get numbers behind the ball while applying pressure, depth, balance, and quickly gain a compact shape to regain possession of the ball. Then we look at transition from defense to attack. In this example, the red number 2 in possession of the ball, looking to play that ball in behind the blues back line for the 9 to run onto. In this situation, the 5 anticipates that ball, is able to intercept, calmly plays back to the goalkeeper, and then we're looking for the blues to quickly expand into an open shape, providing width and depth and support around the ball to then find an open man, move the ball forwards to penetrate, create chances, and score goals. So to summarize our playing style in all 4 phases of the game, when in possession, we want our players to use good spatial awareness, create passing options so we can penetrate between the lines. If the opponent has a solid defensive block, we're looking to use depth and width to find the spaces to pull the opponent apart in order for us to penetrate, create chances, and score goals. When we're out of possession, we need numbers behind the ball, compact shape centrally to force them into areas where we can then outnumber them. And when we're transitioning, we want immediate transition, immediate effect. So if we're in possession and we lose it, we've got to quickly contract and get numbers behind the ball. If we are transitioning to attack, we want to quickly go from that compact shape, quickly expand to move the ball forwards and create chances. So now we know our principles of play and style of play. How do we implement this on the training field? So we look at US Soccer's play development philosophies, and their grassroots philosophy is that children learn and develop to their full potential through game-like experiences in an enjoyable environment that supports individual growth. And what's more enjoyable than players playing the game? So if we can increase the amount of exercises that are game-like, we'll be able to change player behavior through the players learning from their mistakes. And then when they're playing in a game, everything is very familiar to them because of the game-like exercises that we've used in practice. And holistic, this is encompassing all 4 cornerstones of the game: the technical, the tactical, the psychosocial, and the physical. So let's increase the amount of time in opposed and game-like exercises in our practices. So developing techniques within the game. On a recent D license I was instructing, I asked the candidates what are the different skills that they look to improve in majority of their sessions, and the candidates started rhyming out different skills. So finishing, passing and receiving, 1v1s, pressure cover balance, switching play, all different skills that take part in the game. Then I asked them, I said, draw 2 fields, one for defending, one for attacking, and I want you to show where the different thirds are, and then I want you to line up where those skills take place on the field. So we went from finishing in the attacking third, passing and receiving in all 3 thirds when they're attacking, 1v1s in all 3 thirds whether they're attacking or defending, pressure cover balance, again all 3 thirds for defending, switching play, all 3 thirds, movement off the ball, again compact, and then set pieces in all areas. So we began to look at where do these skills actually take place, and then could we create exercises where we could teach the players the what, the where, the why, the who, when, and how these skills will be used within the game. So creating game-like exercises to create repetition of those skills in an exercise that looks directly like the game. Before I move on, I just wanted to address the last skill that the candidates brought up, and that was set pieces. For me, I feel like this can be developed in the game at the end. So if they're playing 7v7 game at the end of practice and the ball goes out for a corner, you as a coach could just quickly give some instructions in how you would like a corner to take place, and then if it needs a second or a third attempt, then you could have that, but then let the game go back to flowing. Then next time there's a corner, they know the instructions, and they will apply them within the game at the end of practice. So that brings me to what US Soccer have designed as their roadmaps. So they have simplified the process by creating a roadmap to develop training session goals. So they have the what in regards to their attacking, where on the field is it taking place, what's the goal, so move the ball forwards, create chances, score goals. How are they going to do that? Find openings, create openings, and then what are the player actions? So those key skills that we were looking at on the previous slide, and then what are the key qualities that are going to be developed. And again, it's the same for defending. So here's a quick video just to show you how you can use that roadmap to deliver session objectives during a game-like exercise.
Alright, so where are we on the field? Middle third. What are we trying to do? Oranges. They're in possession. What are we trying to do? Defend. Prevent the defenders from going where? Into the end zone. Now, what are the player actions that we need to do in order to prevent them from going into that end zone? Block off passing lanes. Good. What else? Well, principles of defence. Pressure. Communication. So we're talking about who's going to go pressure and what else. Compact. Good. Dave, pass me the ball. Show me a good example of blocking a passing lane in compact communicating if they're right backs on the ball. Now, action. Play. That's not bad. Go back to the left. That's about communication. Pass the ball higher. Higher communication with the ball goes through there. Play. Very good. This is our right back. Alex, good. Ball back to Andy, going right.
Okay, so as you saw there, I went through the roadmap and then I created a scenario, asked them more questions, and then let them play. So now we look at our season plans. So why do we have season plans? And it's this for me. It's similar to school. We need to have an understanding of what the players will learn over a duration of time. So at the end of the season, we know that each player has worked in all the different thirds of the field and worked on the different skills required for those different thirds. If we're a reactive in our coaching, and we base our sessions off what happened at the weekend, we might become short-sighted or one-dimensional and always look at the same thing and then always be developing the same thing and not the broader picture of the game. It might be, oh, we didn't score, or we lost the game, we need to score more goals, so we're going to work on finishing. When in reality, it might be that we could improve how we build out the back and possess through midfield to create more scoring chances. Or it could be we need to improve how we defend. So again, if we have a periodized plan, we can make sure that each and every player across the nation is working on every aspect of the game in all the thirds of the field. So here's an example of our season plan. And then here is the 11v11 season plan, which, as you can see, there's 2 weeks in each third of the field. 1 week working in possession, the other week working out of possession. And within those exercises, we're using game-like exercises. There's going to be a lot of moments of transition as well. So now we look at the session structure and the key elements to building a session from beginning to end. As you can see at the top, we need to focus on the phase of the game and the area of the field in which we're working in, and then decide what your learning outcomes are. As soon as we start the session, balls are out, players are moving, and they're executing skills directly from the game. The main activity doesn't necessarily mean it's only one exercise. You could have 2 or even 3 exercises that you would like to do once the players are warmed up. But you need to make sure has opposition, has goals, targets, or outcomes, and again relates and looks like the game. The more position specific we can make it, the better. And then every single session we want to end it with a game. To go into a little more detail, session 1, if you feel like there's a need for technique in isolation, this should be done in session 1 of the week, not in session 2. So your individual based warm-up on the first session of the week can incorporate technique in isolation. However, if you feel like the players are at a level where they can develop that technique under pressure, get them playing under pressure as soon as possible. If you do decide to do technique in isolation, follow up with an exercise that has opposition to bring out the techniques that they've been working on. Then you move into a theme-related practice. So maybe you have an exercise such as a rondo or possession-based exercises. That again would be in session 1 of the week, followed by a game. And then in session 2, everything as position specific as you can make it. So 2 teams, direction, looking to achieve the outcomes of the session. So then there's a direct transfer from the last session before the weekend that looks just like the game and go straight into the weekend. Now, if you wanted to do those characteristics of session 2 on session 1 as well, I would recommend that also. This slide I've created a guide to creating position-specific exercises. So I call it the cookie cutter process. Here on the left, we have the Blues in possession in their own third. And if I was to cookie cut an area of the field that I would like to have the players improve within, I've taken the central portion of their own half. So I'm working with the 4, 5, the 6, the holding midfielder, and then the 2 attacking midfielders, the 8 and 10. Against pressure, trying to get into the end zone. So the remaining players could be waiting to put pressure on. So it could be a goal kick. Can they get into the end zone? If the Reds win it, they aim to score a goal. If the ball goes out of play, a new ball goes to the keeper, and then 4 fresh Reds come in to put pressure onto those Blues, and those Reds that have just been sprinting to put pressure on the ball, they now get a short resting period before they go in again at high intensity. So we've got the what, we're in possession, attacking, where in the defensive third, why to move the ball forwards, who as again 1, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 10, how spread out, find space and move the ball quickly, and another how, I'm talking about the technique. So check your surroundings, receive with correct body shape and punch passes. So we're always looking to increase the transfer of learning from the training field to the game. So then the 5 elements of a training session. You need to make sure your activity is organized. So making sure that the players can see the dimensions and understand their boundaries. Have you got it organized to an extent of having balls ready to feed in, or have balls next to the goalkeeper if it is a playing out from the back exercise? Is there a repetition of the topic? And then is it challenging? If it's too easy or too hard, we can adjust the numbers, we can adjust the spacing and the sizing of the field. And then coaching, is there effective coaching based on the age and level of the players? So on this slide, I've got a short video clip of myself making coaching points via guided discovery. You can see in the bottom right hand corner, the Blues are defending. So in this actual video, it's the Oranges coming this way. So the Blues defending in the middle third, looking to be compact and then force the opponent into a wide area and then quickly shift over to suffocate the space and hopefully regain possession.
Stop there! Still not seeing the both central midfielders get right over. Pass the ball back again, Ian. So Ian, go back to where you were. Oranges, show me where the ball is now. Show me your best compact shape. Good there. Good, Caden. Play that ball into River. Everyone react. And stop. Much better. That was orchestrated. That was perfect. And then it goes moving. Get a ball starting juggling. And again, if 2 or 3 don't do that and switch off, then there's going to be a huge gap.
So, just to look back at that, I created and recreated a situation. I used guided questions. I had them demonstrate and rehearse it. And then once we did another rehearsal, I then let them play live and use those cues of the centre back in possession, making sure we're compact in central areas. And in the moment they played into a wide area, we quickly shift over and put pressure on the ball and hopefully outnumber them and win the ball back. So this slide is to briefly discuss physical workload. I know a lot of coaches like to train physical attributes in isolation. So I just wanted to show these stats that were brought to us after the boys wore smart belts during a game, which showed 38 minutes. They were above 80% of their maximum heart rate. 73% of the game was active participation, so that is anything where they were at a jog or faster. So anytime where the ball's out of play or when they're standing around at halftime, that will be recorded as inactive, and then anything, as I say, jog or above is recorded. Distance, self-explanatory, and then percentage of the game spent in their highest speed zones. We then had the players wear them for practice, and on an average practice, this is what we've been getting, is 35 minutes of practice they are above 80% of max heart rate, and this is during sessions where they're doing game-like exercises, very similar to what we just saw on the last slide. So very similar to a game. Active participation, so there's no halftime in our sessions. There is water breaks, but due to game-like exercises where all players are involved. That is actually, there's more active participation in sessions than in games. Distance, so on average they're hitting very similar scores to a game. And then speed zones, and this one didn't quite reach the same amount as a game, but very similar. And then I wanted to show you a session in which I had high intense bouts. So the small sided games at the beginning, I was doing 3v3s for 2 minutes and then gave them a minute off. And then we went into the exercise that you saw in the video, and 50 minutes of that session they were above 80% of their max heart rate. 80% again, active participation. And then they hit over 6,000 meters, so more than they would in a game, and 70% in their higher speed zones because they were working on pressing. They were able to develop all those physical attributes that they need within a game. So coaching resources, as you know, every coach watching this webinar, you should have a free account with the coaching manual on our AYSO United platform. If you don't have that, make sure to get in contact with our technical director, Paul Bright, and he will make sure you have an account. Within that, you can find exercises, as you can see here. They recently did some filming at St. George's Park in England with David Moyes and other professional coaches. So get yourselves on there, have a look at the exercises that the pros are doing, and we can directly translate them to our own environment with our players. You can create your own exercises. So there is a session builder tool where you can then put those exercises into a session, print it out before you go to practice, and have it in your pocket. And then there will also be video session plans from myself. So I have been filming all my sessions, and I have been working in the themes of the week just a couple weeks ahead of time, so I have time to edit the videos, and I will be sending those out as soon as possible, so you guys can take a look at those as well and adapt, change some of the ideas. But it's just again to be a resource and to help you see how we can implement game-like exercises throughout all the sessions. So in summary, coaches, let's all be role models. Let's have that heart of a teacher. Let's all read and understand the game, so all understand the principles of play and teach these to our players. Have a reality-based game-like approach in sessions. Use a guided discovery approach with our players, so ask them questions, empower them to give the answers to the objectives. Make sure you're prepared and have a plan, and provide attention to detail at all times. So thank you guys. It has been a longer webinar, but hopefully you're able to fully understand what we expect on the training field, and I look forward to hearing how you guys are doing with those season plans. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. You can email, text, call, Facebook Messenger, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, thanks guys. See you soon.